All right, here we go. The objective is to be able to remember and apply the percent equation in real life applications. There's many different applications of using percents. Think of shopping sales. Oftentimes the news quotes statistics using percents. You have politics, just many different sports statistics, many different applications of percent. So there's one formula I think that will help you in solving many different types of percent problems, and the formula goes like this. It's basically set up as a proportion, and you have something is some kind of percent of a number, and then it's out of 100 because percent means out of 100. Something is some percent of a number out of 100. So I know that's a lot of question marks, but I think you'll find that they'll always give you two of those question marks, and you'll just have to solve for the last one. So let's go ahead and show a few examples. Let's say I have the going shopping or something like that, and I want to know what is 40% of 50. 40% of 50 because they're having a sale. What I want to buy is $50. It's 40% off. I want to know how much I'm going to save. So what is 40% of 50? Well, we don't, the question says what is. So we don't know what is 40% of 50. That's what we need to solve. But we do know that it's said 40%. That's always 100. What is 40% of 50? Of 50. So now we have the basic proportion problem. Something is, what is 40% of 50? 100, okay? So if we simplify 40 over 100, we divide both the top and the bottom by 20, we get 2/5. X over 50 equals 2/5. And now we can do cross products. 50 times 2 and set that equal to x times 5. So 50 times 2 is 100. 5 times x is 5x. And then if we divide both sides by 5, we will get 20 equals x. So 20 is 40% of 50, and I'm by the item I'm supposedly saving $20. Okay, how about what is 75%? What is 75% of 112? What is 75% of 112? X over 112 equals 75 over 100. If we divide the top and the bottom of this by 25, we will get 3/4 and x over 112. And then if we do the cross products, 3 times 112 is 336. 4 times x is 4x. Divide both sides by 4. And I believe that we will get x equals, can't see that, x equals 84. So 84 is 75% of 112. Okay, how about a different type of problem? Let's say that we want to know, or we're asking, the question is asking for the percentage. Now listen to this question, it's a little tricky. What percent is 12 of 20, or 20 12 is what percent of 20? Maybe that's another way to say 12 is what percent of 20. But again, you could say what percent is 12 of 20? What percent is 12 of 20? So either way you phrase that, what percent is 12 of 20? Okay, now I'm going to use that as an example because it's a little bit of an exception. The easy way to say it is 12 is what percent of 20? 12 is what percent of 20? That would be obvious because it's 12 is what percent of 20. But again, sometimes the question will say, what percent is 12 of 20? What percent, I'll write that. What percent is 12 of 20? Okay, so you have to be a little discerning here, and that's not going to fit exactly perfectly this model, but you can still figure it out because when it says what percent, you know that's going to be your question mark. And even though it says is 12, and this is the number usually goes before the is, we know that it's of 20, right? So the 20 goes there, and then you just have to kind of rephrase this question. What is 12? What percent is 12 of 20? Well, that's the same thing as saying 12 is what percent of 20. So just be a little careful with that, but it still works. So 12 is what percent of 20? Well, if we solve this, 12 over 20 equals x over 100. We can, again, there's a few different ways we could do this. We could do the cross products, and we'll do that in just a second. But if you saw that 20 times 5 equals 100, if you saw that 20 times 5 equals 100, then you could do 12 times 5 and get your answer as well. Okay, it will be 60. But if you didn't see that, then you could simplify 12 and 20 simplifies. I think if you divide the top and the bottom by 4, you will get 3/5. If you divide the top and the bottom by 4, equals x over 100. And then if you do the cross products, then you'll get 300 equals 5x. Divide both sides by 5, and you will get x equals 60. So 12 is 60% of 20. Let's see how we do on time. All right, just do one more. If you said, or one more of these type. What percent is 39 of 26? What percent is 39 of 26? Or, again, another way of saying that is 39 is what percent of 26? 39 is, I'm not even going to write it now, what percent of 26? Did I say 20 last time? 26. 39 is what percent of 26? We can simplify this by dividing the top and the bottom by 13. And we'll get 3 over 2 equals something over 100. And then again, cross products. 300 equals 2. I'll just put an x in for that. And x equals 150. So 39 is 150% of 26. Okay. Now, last type of problem you might come across is something like this. 9 is 15% of what number? 9 is 15% of what number? So 9 is 15% of what number? Okay, and if we either do the cross products now or let's simplify first. So 15 over 100, if we divide the top and the bottom by 20, if we divide the top and the bottom by 5, the top and the bottom by 5, we will get 3 over 20. Okay, and this might make the math a little easier. Let's do the cross products. 180 equals 3x. Divide both sides by 3. 60 equals x. So 9 is 15% of 60. And last but not least, we'll just do one more. 16 is 32% of what number? 16 is 32% of what number? Okay, let's see. Let's divide this by 4. Okay, now to save a little bit of time, I'm just going to do a little trick for you here. You probably can see this if you've already seen some of the other kind of shortcuts we've taken. We can see that 8 times 2 gives us 16. 8 times 2 gives us 16. So 25 times 2 will give us 50. And we can see that x equals 50. If you didn't do that, if you didn't see that, then you could do 25 times 16. Using the cross products, 25 times 16, I believe is, let's see, 200. Is that right? No, 400. 25 times 16 is 400. And then 400 divided by 8, or sorry, I'll just show it. 25 times 16 is 400 equals the 8x. Divide both sides by 8. And you get 50. Okay, so anyway, that was the other way to do that. But these are neat little shortcuts if you can see them before you do all the other math. So anyway, that's percents. And if you know that what something is something percent of a number, and then 100 always is on the bottom right, that will help you in a lot of percent problems. All right, it was a little bit longer video. Sorry about that, but I hope it was helpful.